This video is brought to you by Bear Motion. Be sure to check out bearmotioncase.com for all their iPhone 5C and 5S cases. It's Phil here from GadgetGuruHD, and today we are going to be comparing the two hottest mid-range smartphones on the market, the iPhone 5C and the Moto X. So let's first start off with just mentioning some of their specs before we get into this. The iPhone 5C has the 4-inch Retina display with a resolution of 640 by 1136, a dual-core Apple A6 processor clocked at 1.3 GHz, 1 GB of RAM, 16 and 32 GB storage configurations. It's running iOS 7, has an 8-megapixel camera, a 1507 mAh battery, and the colors it comes in are white, blue, pink, green, and yellow. Now on the Android side of things, you have the Moto X coming in with a 4.7-inch AMOLED display with a 1280 by 720p resolution, a Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 Pro dual-core processor clocked at 1.7 GHz, 2 GB of RAM, the same 16 and 32 GB configuration for storage, Android 4.2, a 10-megapixel camera, 2200 mAh battery, and up to 252 different color combinations. So if you can't already tell, these phones are almost edge-to-edge the same exact device running different operating systems. And that means a lot right there, especially since the Moto X is going to come in at $100 more on contract. But let's let the specs do the talking and throw on some benchmarks to see what these two phones do against each other. So the first benchmark that we're going to do is GFX Bench. Now this is going to go ahead and benchmark the graphic performance on each device. So what we're going to go ahead and do and hit Perform Test. We're going to make sure all of these tests are selected. And we're going to hit Start. So here are the results from GFX Bench, and pretty much the Moto X crushed the iPhone 5C. So if you're a little bit confused, just take a look at some of the frame rates, and comparing each specific benchmark that we ran, you almost had double the performance on the Moto X. So 16 frames per second versus 6.8, 26 versus 13, then you had 15 versus 6.8, 25 versus 14, and it's just clear that the Moto X dominated on the graphics benchmarks. So the next benchmark that we're going to do is speedtest.net. Now these are both running on Verizon Wireless's 4G network, and the reason why I want to test the data speeds is because Apple's claiming that the iPhone 5C has newer, stronger 4G antennas that are going to stack up against just about any 4G LTE device out there. So we have both of them on 4G, and we are going to go ahead and hit Begin Test. So as a result, you can tell that the iPhone 5C actually did come through with this one. On the Motorola X, you have 15.4 down and 1.62 up. And then on the iPhone 5C, we have 17.73 down and 2.98 up. Now, it's not a substantial increase, however, an increase it is, and faster data speeds are always nice. And the final benchmark that we're going to do is Geekbench 3. Now we're going to go ahead and quickly just hit Run Benchmarks, and we're going to let the fun begin. So Geekbench 3 is now finished, and pretty much it's a pretty solid tie. Looking at the single core score on the Motorola X, you're going to get 678, and the single core score on the iPhone 5C, you're going to get 691. Then things get a little bit interesting when you look at multi-core score. You're going to get 1254 and then 1236. So it's pretty much a dead tie across the board. The Motorola X had the better graphics performance, the iPhone 5C had the better network performance, and they're both just about equal as far as processor and just overall system-wide performance goes. So really guys, it's up to you. iPhone 5C versus Motorola X. They're two extremely well-built devices. They're both going to be available in a ton of colors to really fit whatever you're liking. And they're both going to be solid mid-range devices for you to choose from. So anyways, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Be sure to stay subscribed and like the video if you liked it. Later.